Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Welcome to Meet the Candidates Night. I'm Sarah Tackett, and I'm the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce. And this event tonight is brought to you by the Chamber of Commerce and the Crescent News. We certainly appreciate their partnership. I'd also like to thank Steve Furness from our Chamber Board and Phil Constein. They are two of our Chamber Board members who serve on our Public Affairs Committee for the Chamber, so I appreciate all of their input and support for tonight's event. We also want to thank our hosts tonight, Family Christian Center, for allowing us to be here this evening. I'd also like to thank all of our candidates for their willingness to come and talk with all of you. Now, this is a nonpartisan event, and it's designed to provide an opportunity for the 6 candidates running for City Council and the 2 candidates running for Council President to share their background and their goals. The City Council is comprised of 3 at-large council seats and 4 ward seats. The 3 at-large seats are up for re-election, as is 1 seat for Council President, and the length of term is 4 years. The election will be held next Tuesday on November 2nd for terms that begin on January 1st, 2022. Tonight's format will be as follows. I will act as your moderator. I will briefly introduce each candidate, and I'll ask at that time for each of you to stand or raise your hand or something like that. And then each candidate will come here to the stage and have up to 5 minutes to share his or her background, their accomplishments, the reason he or she is seeking office, and what he or she hopes to accomplish in that office. There will not be a question and answer session with the audience tonight, although you may wish to remain afterwards and ask your questions individually to the candidates. And we do want to keep this evening positive, and we encourage each candidate to focus on what they hope to accomplish in the office. And now it's my pleasure to introduce you to the candidates. First, those running for City Council at large in alphabetical order. We have Joe Uresti, Jill Crutch, Chris Mack, Angie Miller, Jeremiah Rohrig, Steve Waxler. And secondly, those running for, yes, let's give them a round of applause. And those running for Council President, also in alphabetical order, Pete Lundberg and David McMaster. Tonight, our candidates drew numbers to randomly determine the order of speaking. So it's my pleasure to welcome our first candidate to the stage, Joe Uresti.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the Crescent News and the Defiance Area Chamber for the invitation to be here tonight. And my name is Joe Uresti, and I am running for a 5th term on City Council as an at-large councilman. About myself, I'm married. I have been married to my spouse, Jennifer, for 30 years. We have 2 sons, their spouses, and 2 grandchildren. I've lived most of my life in Defiance, and I graduated from Defiance High School in 1972. 4 days later, I started working at General Motors, and I am still working almost 50 years later. In the 70s, I worked and attended college. I attended Defiance, Adrian, and Northwest Technical College. In the 90s, I became interested in public service. In 1993, I won a seat on the school board and served 2 terms. In 1996, I was elected school board president. In 2001, I ran for a seat on City Council as an at-large councilman. I ran unopposed and I won. I'm just finishing up my 4th term on City Council and running for a 5th term. I feel blessed that I've been in the public eye since 1994. Since 1994, the public has had a chance to see me and hear me from watching school board meetings and council meetings on TV. Since 1994, the public has had a chance to read about me in the Crescent News from comments I have made at these same meetings. And since 1994, the public has had a chance to read the many letters to the editor that I have written over the years. Why am I running for a fifth term? I'm running because I'm a strong believer in volunteerism and public service. I feel being on council is about being an active listener in the community. Listen to what we hear, we bring back to City Council. I feel being on council is about wanting to be receptive and responsive to the public's concerns. I feel being on council is about supporting good public services. I feel being on council is about voting on legislative decisions that help make Defiance a great place to live. If re-elected, what are my goals? Number one is jobs. Our community needs good-paying jobs that will support the livelihood of working families and young people so they can stay and live in Defiance. In support, our community needs to have a competitive business climate to attract new businesses. The business climate consists of the cost of doing business in our community, regulations, quality of life initiatives, business growth opportunities, and incentives. Businesses review these factors. 2, we need to support new housing additions in our community. If a large employer came to our community, I want the new employees and their families to be bulldogs instead of wildcats, golden bears, or panthers. I want them to move in our community. For that to happen, we need to have available housing. 3, I feel we need to support adequate funding for street improvements. As a councilman, we need to request a fair share of our yearly budget for street improvements. My last goal is to seek safe pedestrian sidewalk travel in our community. In support, council and the administration need to review and support a master sidewalk plan to repair or replace bad sidewalks or build new sidewalks for connectivity. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Our next candidate is Angie Miller.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angie Miller, and I'm seeking office because I feel I bring ambition and drive to City Council. I've spent most of my adult life working in the entertainment business in Los Angeles, collaborating with cast and crews of dedicated professionals to accomplish excellence in their craft. All very different people working for one common goal. That is my approach to City Council. We have so many opportunities to grow in this great community through our historic designation and entertainment district that we have not yet tapped into. Revitalizing downtown Defiance with new incentives for small businesses and utilizing more grants. I would like to implement new building codes and city ordinances that will improve overall look and ensure safety to all citizens. I believe in continuing to improve sidewalks, alleys, and streets so that citizens can travel safely. I also feel by repurposing the 1918 building that we can fill a need for more housing. Our community also brings, in that aspect, it will bring our community more business and job opportunities. I have no personal agenda, but only wish to continue to serve my community to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Please welcome to the stage Steve Waxler.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting us. Thanks to Chamber and Crescent News for being here. I'm Steve Waxler. I've been on City Council since 2013. I took over for a good friend of mine that had became ill, and they asked me to take his seat, so I did. I was on the Defiance Fire Department for 36 years. I had to choose between the fire department and City Council. I was getting too old for the fire department, quite honestly. So I chose to do this and continue being a public servant. I've enjoyed it the whole time I've done it. My biggest goals, I believe, is I've worked a lot at blighted housing, blighted properties. You know, you want people to come to your town, we got to make sure our town looks good to do that. I think we've done a good job at it. I think we got a long way to go. My other big thing is the sidewalks and streets. I think that that's also important to bring jobs to your community and other businesses to your community. And probably my biggest goal is, I'm not a good public speaker, as you can tell. My biggest goal is to protect the family budget. Now, by doing that, you know, we sit there at that table. We are in charge of controlling what the city government does with the tax dollars, prioritizing. And I think that's very important, and that's a big part of our job to do that. And I believe that as long as we can prioritize where the monies are going, I think we can accomplish what we want to accomplish. I think we can get our streets good and our sidewalks and get rid of blighted housings and bring people to want to come to our town. If they drive through and see that we're a nice town, we got nice streets, nice sidewalks, I think jobs will come. I truly believe that. I think our city administration does a good job and CIC of promoting Defiance, and I believe that there's a lot more coming that we're working on. And I know that housing is a big issue. When you bring these people in, you have to have housing for them, as Mr. Uresti said. We want them to be Defiance Bulldogs. You know, we want them to live and work in our community. So that's my biggest 3 goals, I guess, I have, and that's what I've always worked at. You know, as far as the downtown revitalization, I'm big on that too. But I believe that a lot of that has to do with, and I've always said this, our businesses downtown need to be open, at least try to be open a couple evenings a week, because people come to town and there's nothing downtown in the evenings. You know, you go downtown on the weekends, you might find a coffee shop or Meeks or a couple restaurants open. The businesses aren't open in the evenings when I was a kid, everybody was downtown in the evenings. And I think if we're going to get the downtown going, we got to get all the downtown merchants on board, and we need to try this. We need to try it at least a couple of nights a week and see what it does. If it don't work, it don't work. But I think that that's the first step, is getting the merchants on board with us before we spend a lot of money downtown. So that's all I really have, and I thank you for inviting me, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Next, let's welcome Jill Crutch.
Wow, that light's bright. That'll help me to see. Thank you, Chamber, Crescent News, for inviting us. I'm Jill Crutch, born and raised in Defiance. Grew up on the east side, went to Brickell School, graduated in 1975, went on to further my education at Bowling Green State University, where I became an elementary teacher with a degree of elementary education and special education. So I knew that I was going to go into the public servant role. I'm married. I'm married to Rick for 40 years. Yes, 40 years with Rick. And everybody knows Rick. I have 3 children and 4 grandchildren. I have been part-time on city council, and then I was on a full term, and I'm running for my 2nd term as a council at large. When I think of accomplishments, I can't think I can take the accomplishments that city council and the administration has done, because it's been a teamwork. But first of all, I think one of the biggest accomplishments that we have seen is our park system. And our parks are being updated, bringing a better quality of life for our community. And we're going to continue to enhance each one of our parks. Another thing that I've noticed with our administration again and city council as the teamwork is economic development. I know when I first came on, they were going to build the spec building, and with my background of no business, I didn't understand building a building and thinking, hopefully they'll come and fill it. And I was amazed that they did, and it's full, and we have jobs there now. And also we have another spec building with the Harmon building. It's being completed, and manufacturing and other entities are going to be filling the space, which means more jobs. And then lastly, I think one of the biggest that I know of is the GAC, the granulated activated carbon system, which I am really excited about, because I know people know that we need the best water system here in Defiance. This will continue to improve our drinking water. This system, biggest objective is to improve the odor and the taste of our water. Now, this process is already added to our great water system, but I think this will make Defiance even better in our area with our water system. The GAC is an awesome thing that's being built. If you go out by Baltimore, you're going to see this. And then lastly, being on the board of the Strady Cultural Arts Center, which has been a really big one for me, because I really want the enhancement of arts in our town. You're seeing the murals. We did Draw Defiance. You're going to see street art and many more endeavors. And then lastly, enhancing our environment by improving our waterways, collecting the data that is going on the Maumee River, making the grassland areas to help with filtration of our chemicals going into our rivers. Jen English has the knowledge and is impeccable to help us be responsible for our natural resources. Why do I want to seek office? My husband asks me this every day. I want to give back to the community. It's another way that I can invest my life in the community, and I want to see results that the council does. I marvel at the fact that our street crews can plow the snow and get our streets done clean, but never fails on social media. Somebody still doesn't see the good quality streets that we have, and they have to look at something that's wrong. And we need to work on that, because we are in a positive community and we should love what we have. And lastly, I love my town. Grew up here, I want to be here, and I want to stay here. I grew up here, I raised my family here, and even one of my daughters came back here. Some of my goals that I'd like to see, of course, is streets. It's already designed by our civil engineers, our city engineers, and I just want to up it a little bit, that we can plan and include our sidewalks and have the financial capability to do those things. And then also, lastly, to continue to work on the downtown revitalization plan by including art and other things into that picture. I'm Jill Crutch, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Jill. Our next candidate is Jeremiah Rorig.
Hello, I'm Jeremiah Rorig. The reason I decided to run for city council is because I've always been passionate about helping others out. When I was 21 years old, Hurricane Katrina hit and I was on my way to help. I volunteered with the Red Cross and spent 1 month helping any way I possibly could, sleeping on floors and living in the same buildings with the people who had lost everything. I was not able to take a shower for 2 weeks. I was eating MREs for most of my meals, and I learned that listening, being there, and having compassion for those people was a big help. They lost everything and had nowhere to go, and they had no one to talk to. It meant a lot to the people to know that there were still others who cared enough that would drop everything to come help. I would then move on to be working at Titan Tire Corporation in the maintenance department and production. I also ran for second shift steward for the United Steelworkers and won the election. From there, I got more involved with the union and was elected onto the E-board, then appointed to the pension and insurance position, and also elected to become the workers' compensation rep, where I would represent injured workers on a state level in Toledo at the Industrial Commission. At that time, there were close to 600 employees that I was on call for at 24/7. This brings me to my main concern with our community, and that is housing. More so the rental market. A study done in 2018 for the Defiance housing market finds that 46% of our homes in the city are rentals, and that is an estimated 3,000 homes. That number does not include the 17 apartment complexes with an additional 801 units. The report states that 99.5% of these rentals are occupied and that a healthy market has 5% opening. That way people can move around with life-changing situations, and if they're unhappy with the current home, they can find another one. If we take that number of the rentals in this report and multiply that by $650 per unit per month, that number comes out to $2,470,650 a month, or an impressive $29,647,800 per year. That's from a business with no checks and balances on a local level. According to this report, almost 50% of our citizens live in homes that do not get inspected for their houses to be up to date with our codes. Regardless of how anyone feels, the numbers do not lie, and I do feel strongly that we need to sit down and discuss options on how to set standards for these homes. This will protect the lives of our citizens, our firefighters, our first responders. It will also create a competitive rental market, and a competitive market is a healthy market. I feel we should review and update the city ordinances that reflect today's societies. I believe this is a prime example of how we can be proactive with broken sidewalks, vacant buildings, and blighted properties before they become nuisance violations to the city. The buildings and properties that are in disrepair did not happen overnight. By enforcing these ordinances consistently, this is a good way to increase the overall morale and the appearance of our city to others. My last subject is safe pedestrian traffic. This will encourage an active lifestyle, support small business in our downtown, and is a necessity for those who do not have access to other forms of transportation. Everything I have mentioned falls under the quality of life. We are a product of our environment. A united and diverse council can make these changes possible for the future of our community. I'd appreciate your vote November 2nd, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And our final candidate for City Council at Large is Chris Mack. If you welcome, please.
Good evening, and thank you so much for being here tonight, everybody who's here, and thank you so much to the Chamber for sponsoring this, and thank you so much for the Crescent News for sponsoring this event. My name's Chris Mack. I live at 417 Jefferson Avenue here in Defiance, of course. A little bit about myself. I was raised in the Ohio area, graduate of Fairview High School in 1975. My family's been in the Defiance area for well over 100 years. Married to my lovely wife, Stephanie, down here. I have 4 grown children from my marriage to my late wife, Gwendolyn, who passed away a few years ago. I'm retired from General Motors here in Defiance, production worker, hourly, UAW member. I'm also retired from the United States Army. I served in active duty, reserve, and National Guard components, 21 years of service. I retired Sergeant First Class. I'm a veteran of Operation Desert Storm also. Member of the VFW here in Defiance, where I'm on the Honor Guard. I'm a member of the NAY, American Legion Post 680, where I'm vice commander at this time, and I'm also the chairman of the Buckeye Boys State Committee there. I'm a member of AMVETS also in Defiance. 4 years ago, I ran for one of the at-large city council seat, lost by a handful of votes. Incidentally, don't let anybody tell you that your single vote doesn't count, because it does. But anyway, since that time, I've tried to stay involved with the community. I was appointed to the City Charter Review Committee in 2019. I'm a member of the Community Reinvestment Area Committee. I'm a member of the Defiance County Jury Selection Commission. I'm a member of the I participate in the Defiance County Mentorship Program. Member of the 1918 School Mayoral Advisory Committee, 4-county Solid Waste Management District. I'm the citizen member of that. I'm a member of Historic Homes of Defiance, a past officer there, a member of the Save Our School Committee, that's a part of Historic Homes. I volunteer with the St. Vincent de Paul Society of St. Mary's and St. John's Catholic Church. Also, I'm also a member of the Defiance County Republican Central Committee here in Defiance County. I am truly grateful to have had the opportunity to serve this community in the small ways I just listed. It is truly a privilege and even a duty, I think, that each individual should do what they can to serve that particular community. I want to continue to serve. I want to be the voice of the people of Defiance, the liaison between them and their city government. That's what I hope to do if I'm elected. Okay. 3 things that I think council, city government should focus on going forward. 1 is infrastructure. 2 is supporting our established businesses and encouraging new business to move in. And 3 is quality of life. And all 3 of these things are very much, I think, intertwined, that you have to really do all 3 of them. As far as infrastructure, maintain and improve what we have. The streets got to be maintained. The potholes got to be fixed. We got to find a way to rebuild the sidewalks and connectivity in general, and we have to do it in the most cost-effective and efficient way that we can. I think the water treatment plant is going to go a long ways to improve water quality here in town. It's a great thing. I suspect going forward, though, sewer and runoff and water is still going to be an issue we're going to have to deal with. Not just Defiance, but all the communities along the river with the issues we have with the Maumee River. I think these are things we're probably going to have to deal with in the future also. Regarding supporting established business and encouraging new, I think we need to support our established businesses in every way that we can, and using city government, county government, state government, whatever grants, whatever we need to do, we need to support those businesses to get them to expand. Regarding bringing new businesses, encouraging new businesses to relocate here, I think we need to strongly promote Defiance, as we have, to continue promoting Defiance for what it is. Defiance is a prime location for 21st century businesses of all types and all sizes, and I think we really need to focus on that. Regarding quality of life issues, we need to develop and expand our parks, our trails, our recreation areas. I think we need to interconnect these things as much as we can, and I think we need to connect those things to a thriving downtown area. I see that downtown as to the south, the 1918 building repurposed into market rate housing, and I see at the north end the Gateway Park, the Maumee River, Pontiac Park. In between those 2 landmarks to our Defiance's history, thriving businesses, thriving restaurants, thriving businesses of all kinds. This is what I think we have to do. I don't think these quality of life issues, things that I mentioned, are frivolous. I do not think that they are unnecessary. I think these are the kind of things that will attract entrepreneurs to our city. I think they attract skilled workers. I think these things attract high-tech businesses, the types of workers and businesses that will put long-term roots into Defiance. These kind of businesses, they can go any place and set up. Any town is going to welcome them in the country. We have to give them ample reasons to locate right here in Defiance. Okay. Again, I want to thank you for all of you for being here tonight. I truly believe that Defiance can thrive and prosper in the 21st century. If you share that belief, I hope that you'll vote for me when you vote here in the near future. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Chris. And let's have a round of applause for all of our council at-large candidates. Nice job, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure now to introduce our two candidates for council president. And they also drew numbers. Our first speaker this evening for city council president is Dave McMaster. Dave?
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Chamber. Thank you, Crescent News, and thank you for Family Christian Center for allowing us to use your facility this evening. My name is Dave McMaster. I was born and raised in Paulding. I graduated from Paulding High School in 1985. Don't worry, I got better about 1986 when I started attending Defiance College, and I met my now wife, Kelly. Kelly and I have been married 32 years, and we have 5 kids. Madeline and Claire, and 3 boys, Shay, Liam, and Sydney, that keep my hands busy. 4 years ago, I ran for city council president. I had been attending city council meetings for about a year at that point and had become frustrated at how city council meetings were being run. You can look up the videos on YouTube. You can watch them for yourself. In the last 4 years, what I've tried to make a priority is, number one, that citizens realize that they are the boss. We, as council members, work for the taxpayers. Now, city council has its job to do, and the role of the president is to make sure that city council meetings go smoothly. I've intended to make citizens feel welcome, that they can come, that they will be heard. Now, the answers they may get, if they come with questions, may not be the exact answer they want. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But it's my experience that people are willing to hear answers they don't like if they know they're being heard, they're being treated with respect, and that their issues that are important to them are important to the people that are discussing them. I think these last 4 years we've taken strides forward where people can come and feel like they're being heard by the people representing them. One of the big deals I did not see coming was COVID. And so a lot of my effort went into how can we ensure that citizens who can't come, even with masks during the darkest part of the COVID pandemic, are still being heard. So I made sure that they could email or write letters or talk to council members, and then we would read them during council meetings and then discuss their issues. Going forward, I would like to see more faces showing up and having time in order to discuss matters. A second issue I wanted to do during my first term was to make sure that civility and respect and productivity were the name of the game during city council meetings. I expect citizens that come in to be treated with respect, and I expect council members during meetings not only to be treated with respect, but to treat each other with respect. The city council president position is a bipartisan position, or even a nonpartisan position. All of us coming to the meeting and are here this evening have capital V views when it comes to political issues, especially on the federal and state level. But a lot of the issues that we deal with at city council meetings are the GAC program, the watershed approach to water treatment. How about streets and sidewalks? How about capturing those stray and feral cats? What do we do with them? Low-powered vehicles, how do we get the bridge open again? These aren't Republican and Democrat issues. No one in Washington with a red or blue flag cares a lick whether we have our bridge open and running or not. That's why city council members, when they come, the goal of me as president has been to get us to act as a team. The issue are issues and not personalities. The issue are what can we do for the people of Defiance that have given us the stewardship of these issues on Tuesday nights, and how can we be responsible in handling them? Sometimes the issues are just rejected, like this is a bad idea, come back with a better idea. More times than most, these are great ideas that we get to discuss and disseminate and explain to the people who trust us to come and ask questions so we can put it in language that they're able to understand. Not everybody was raised talking politics or ordinances or resolutions, and I'm a firm believer that you put the cookies on the shelf where the kids can get them off. Part of the job of the city council president is to take these issues and put them on the cookies on levels where people can answer. Also to encourage the council members to come in prepared and educated, able to discuss and act as a team. Going forward, if re-elected for these next 4 years, what I'd like to do is take Plan A, citizens feeling welcome, city council members acting as a team, ordinances and issues being the issues and not personalities, and move forward to the next step in order to get the city council board, the city council representatives to act as a team, that they rely on each other, that they can depend on each other. One of the things that has impressed me the most in these last 4 years is that not only the integrity and the intelligence and the responsibility of council members, but also the areas of knowledge that they know. What I'd like to do is encourage council members to continue to be good at what they're good at. I could probably go on for an hour and bore you, but what I would like to do is ensure you, if re-elected, I want to make sure that the public has a trust that the people on city council are working for their interests and are responsible and reactive to their questions and concerns. Thank you for the time this evening.
Thank you, David. And now please welcome candidate for council president, Pete Lundberg.
Good evening, all. First off, let me say you may hear my voice cracking and garbling a little bit. I had a procedure 2 weeks ago, and it'll remain in my throat for another 2 weeks. It's a stent to open my esophagus to allow me to eat anything but liquid, which that's currently what I'm doing. So if you can accept that as what's going on with me, let me go forward. I graduated from Defiance High School in 1968. So there are not too many out in the community that remember, oh my gosh, Pete, at school. But there are those who do. And I began serving the community well before then, working on the stage crews and building, using my hands, painting art, stage work, and with all kinds of different instructors and teachers from the high school. Moved on from high school to Up With People, from Up With People to the military, from the military back to Defiance and Defiance College. Along about then, I began working for Bill Welker in the restaurant business and served in that business for over 40 years. There again, we did our own plumbing, we did our own electrical, we did our own carpentry. We did a lot of things we could do by ourselves, for ourselves, because even in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, the cost of labor was still too high for the independent. That's where I began to develop my structure of understanding cost, understanding what it takes to be in small business, what it takes to help manage a larger business, because I did work for some larger companies at one point in my time away from the restaurant business. I was a manager with the Sherwin-Williams Company, big company. We had one paint company in Defiance doing a little more than $1 million worth a month with us, paying in full every 30 days. And I had some young fellow up in Cleveland call me up and told me to cut him off. No more paint. But I said, sir, he's paying us, he has 90-day terms and he's paying us in full every 30. There's something wrong with your picture. And he said, what did I tell you to do? And I said, with all due respect, sir, you can come down to Defiance, Ohio and tell this contractor he's done. I will not do it. He said, well, this is the last day of work for Sherwin-Williams, and it wasn't. He did, and he lost his job. Long story short. In 2004, I was awarded the Michael J. Schultz Leadership Award from the Chamber of Commerce. To this day, I treat that with great respect and great honor because it showed to me how the community believed in me as a young business person. But the big advantage that I have over Dave, and his goals are exactly the same as my goals, but I have just this much more time to be able to attend the Board of Control meetings, to be able to spend more time with the division heads, talking over their needs, their issues, their thoughts, and how we move Defiance forward. Because it doesn't always come from the boardroom. It often comes from the rank and file. So with that, is between Dave and I, that's really our own difference. I have a lot of respect for Dave. I told Dave up front that I was going to run this campaign with respect and dignity. I believe we have both done that. And I respect him for what he brought back to council was calm, quiet leadership. I can not only provide that calm, quiet leadership, but take it a step further. So on November 2nd, I will be your next city council president. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Keith. Let's have a nice round of applause for both of our city council president candidates, please.
And actually, let's have a nice round of applause for all 8 of those individuals that spoke here tonight. I think they did a very nice job of representing themselves and their families. And our city is much better off because of all 8 of them. I'm certainly grateful. So in addition to thanking all of our candidates, I'd like to thank Mark from DCTV for recording tonight's session. That will be coming to the airwaves soon. I'd like to thank Mark from here at Family Christian Center for being our sound man for tonight. I'd like to thank Randy Mitchell and Todd Helberg from the Crescent News for their partnering with us and helping to bring this event to you tonight. I'd like to thank Jessica West, my right arm, the marketing and events coordinator at the Chamber, for all that she does for these events. I'd like to thank the local officials who came here tonight. Thank you so much. Mayor Mike McCann, Sheriff Engel, all 4 of the ward councilmen are here tonight. If I may, Steve Corbett, John Hancock, Josh Mast, Chris Engel, we thank you for your support. If I've missed anyone, I certainly apologize. And I want to thank all of you for being here tonight and supporting these candidates and supporting our community. It truly is a great place to live. We encourage all of you to go to the polls on November the 2nd, and we encourage you to visit the Chamber website, defiancechamber.com, for any other future events. Thank you so much. Go out and vote. Have a great night. Drive safely.